Okay, so thanks so much for clicking on this video and choosing to watch it. We're making this video with a really clear intention, and that is that there's space for one more couple who's going to join us for our retreat at the end of next month, and so this is for you.
Yeah, and we thought we'd just go a little deeper on what it really means to enter in a state of polarity within the relationship, and to be a conscious couple, and what that means, and why polarity is important to understand to become a conscious couple.
And the huge role that intimacy plays in that as well.
Yeah, so intimacy is sort of a result of the couple being in a state of polarity, of the man embodying the masculine and the woman embodying the feminine energy. And of course, as men and women, we have both energies within us, but it's about being able to relinquish one energy so your partner can embody the other one, and have that nice balance and that flow, and feeling what is right in each moment for you as a couple to embody those energies.
And we were talking over lunch about how will the couple who's coming, how will they know that this is for them, and what are they likely to be experiencing at the moment? And I can't remember my key point. There you go.
It was they was searching for that fulfillment outside of the relationship.
Yeah, so we'll cut that bit.
You go.
Okay. So we were having lunch earlier, and we were talking about how will this couple know that this is for them? Like, what can we share that they're going to like hear and go, oh yeah, that's us? And one of the things was that the couple, in terms of their that they start to meet their needs through outside sources, and it's kind of either through other friendships, through other interests, and it's such a fine line between having polarity, where there needs to be difference of different experiences, different kind of knowledge coming in, and each person being responsible for their own growth, but that's where that fine balance between independence, codependence, interdependence, and kind of intermixing comes in. So so one of the symptoms perhaps is people just still staying quite close. And this couple, this retreat it's not a couples therapy weekend. It's actually for couples who are they're pretty strong. Like, they've got good foundations, and they're both wanting to grow. They're wanting to grow together, but they're kind of aware that they've started to just kind of put some things in motion that perhaps aren't quite as, I don't know if the word's aligned is right.
Yeah, no, it's coming together to synergize. That's a big part of it, and through the synergizing of the two people, that's what really accelerates the growth. I know for me personally on my journey that I'd done a lot of work, a lot of growth by myself before I entered into a relationship, and ever since I've entered into a relationship, my growth has just gone off the charts. And it's having that energy there, that space for me to actually step into who I really am,
and to be seen in that, and witnessed in that.
Exactly. Yeah.
And sometimes be challenged in it too.
Yeah, totally. Yeah. So, none of this information is meant to suppress anyone. It goes beyond just gender roles, and I see a lot of stuff coming up in the mainstream media about gender stereotypes. So this goes beyond that. It's actually about who we are at our essence, and being able to embody that. And the polarity is actually to create the spark, the passion. It's to create that energy between a couple, because rather than just like coexisting together, it's actually like merging. And that's what we mean by becoming a conscious couple, because you look around in this dimension of how there's a duality to it. Like, with every action there's an equal and opposite reaction, and so there's an opposite to everything in this universe. And what can really be created when those two opposites are synergized is they become the one. And that's what a conscious couple is, becoming the consciousness, the oneness behind the duality, the polarity. So yes. So each of the different energies has different flavors. It has different needs. It plays out differently in men and women. And what can be created when a couple is consciously partaking in embodying these two energies, it's really remarkable.
Yeah.
And it just accelerates your growth.
Yeah, it's that it's almost like the masculine energy of growth and the feminine energy of nurturing, and honoring and nourishing and revisiting, re-meeting who you are now in this moment, especially when we actually remove ourselves from a familial, perhaps home environment of, you know, the work and the other social settings, and where we can't help but kind of become conditioned somewhat by our surroundings, and then to spend a weekend where we remove ourselves. And anyone who's spent a weekend away and comes back feeling refreshed knows the power of that, let alone when you go into a weekend as a couple consciously saying, you know what, our relationship is important enough to us that we're going to dedicate this time, we see the value in it, and we're going to go and surrender into it. Shared intention to grow, shared intention to nourish ourselves, but also that letting go of, you know what, we're willing to go a bit into the unknown and stretch ourselves. And there's such beauty. Like I love watching you, Aaron, when you go through into those spaces where you do get vulnerable, and then you do kind of allow yourself to be seen in that. And it's just because of that space of vulnerability, it enables you to rise up.
Yeah, and look, as men, we think we have to put on these facades of being tough, but think about this energy of toughness. You're wanting to protect something, and really, men are just trying to be tough because they want to protect their vulnerability, their insecurities. So when we as men can actually be vulnerable, being in our truth, we connect to these parts that are sort of scary for us, but it's only in working through that we actually clear these insecurities, and then we step into what's known as our king energy. And it's like you have full dominion over your inner world and outer world, and you're just that full embodiment of presence, and you just got that clear direction, which is that masculine energy. And so yeah, as men, we're not saying that you're going to have to be really vulnerable this weekend. That's something for you to really go and do as a couple in your own time, but we'll give you the sort of tools and exercises that you can go away and really explore this together. And
yeah, and likewise for women, perhaps to step into a new side of their femininity and their masculinity also. And I know that for me, if I get vulnerable, and then Aaron comes in with that, your masculine energy, and you hold me in that space, which again, you do that so well, that enables me to, like, his holding me in this space enables me to tap into this energy within myself. So you create the space, and then it permits me, and then I step into my queen energy, that goddess energy, and that sense of that full power of self-knowing, of self-trust, of faith in myself. And again, that's where the intimacy comes in, because you get to guide. It's like my internal experience, but you are like a base force for that also. It's really beautiful, which then enhances that intimacy.
And that's exactly right. It's, as a man, if you can know how to create the space for your woman to actually surrender into a feminine essence, then man, like, that's what the masculine's about, really, in a way. It was certainly one aspect of it, for sure. Being able to hold space, be that conscious witness for your woman to surrender into that feminine aspect. It's really powerful. And you know, when we heal, we grow, and when we heal these internal wounds, which we've all got our deep undercurrent fears, which is just, you know, from childhood experiences and experiencing separation from the mother and the father, and there's all this stuff going on unconsciously that creates these insecurities. That means we put on these facades that we've got it all together, and we pretend that, you know, everything's all good, but until you start to work through this stuff, you won't really connect to your deeper self. And it's only when you're in your deeper self, your true self, in your heart, that you can really connect to another, and really allow yourself to really merge with that other person in a much deeper way than that's just superficial.
Yeah, and I think it also means, Aaron did a post the other night about the crust and then the layer underneath and then the core, and that what can happen also is that couples start to react at that crust level because they start to see the crustiness
I
of
haven't
each
actually
other.
done the post yet.
Oh. I know
I'm
you're-
working on something really profound, and
But I
Greer's
wa-
just blown it.
So, so the idea that couples also can sometimes get to a point where they start to reacting to the surface tension or surface bumps. And what happens also when we connect, and that can feel like polarity, but that's almost like the shadows aspect of polarity, like where it's when we come into that, when we really have that deep, intimate connection, we're connected with one another from the core. It means those surface annoyances, they just don't, they kind of flick off, like when Aaron gives me death stares. And it just kind of, it picks me up because I know at the core it's all good.
Yeah.
So I don't react, which means then that you kind of diffuse your hatred for me.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And when you understand like the nature of the feminine, you're a lot more forgiving. Like, quite honestly, it's like, oh, that's just her emotions. They're like the weather, like it will pass. And you know, as a masculine man, you like the conversation to get to a point. But you know, when a woman's in her feminine essence, it can sort of like just go off on a tangent over here, and it's like, wait, what were we talking about? Like, where's this going again? Yeah, so
He's just talking like hypothetically speaking.
yeah. I just read it in a textbook somewhere.
Yeah. So this, I don't know. What do you want to say to sum it up?
To sum
Because
it
you're
up,
just going on, and we just need to close it.
to sum it up, there's a couple that is there. We know it's there. If it's you, if this feels like something that really resonates, and you're a couple just looking to grow mentally, spiritually,
Emotionally,
emotionally,
physically, and are ready for something new. Like this weekend, it's going to be the first time that we're doing it. So there's literally going to be 2 couples on the entire planet who are going to experience it. And
yeah, maybe you're a couple that are really evolved physically, and you work out a lot, and you've got that in common, but you're not really sure how to incorporate like the spiritual side in it. Or maybe you're a couple that are really cognitive, like you're really solid on the mindset and everything, but you're not really sure how to take that mindset and blend it with the heart awareness and the heart wisdom. And you know,
yeah, beautiful.
there's all these different areas of life, and it's about having a balance through all of them. And
Yeah. And finally, just that it's a really unique opportunity to witness your partner in a whole nother light and just see them in this whole other space, for you to be witnessed by your partner in that same space, but even more importantly for you to kind of come into this new understanding of yourself, because we all know if we're in a relationship, if I'm dependent on my partner to make me feel whole and to make me feel valued, like, you know, the partner can have a role in facilitating, as we talked about, holding the space, making it safe to be vulnerable, all that sort of thing, but it really comes back to each person to learn to tap into their inner, that inner queen, that inner king energy, knowing, faith and power. And then from there, when both people in the partnership are consciously tapping into that, and then they witness each other in that, that's like, there's the polarity, there's the king, the queen, the masculine, feminine, and then the intimacy that comes from that is
totally
powerful.
All right, I think we'll wrap it up.
Okay.